guys. So, I was able to go to the comic book store this week a little bit earlier than I had previously thought I might be able to. And I honestly only had two things in my safer, which I was surprised by. I think, honestly, I might be missing a issue of the Immortal Hulk comic, but I can't really honestly tell because I saw in another haul video someone had that they had gotten an issue this week, but I don't know if they were buying, an old issue or if it came out this week and my store just forgot to put it in my saver, because Mortal Hulk is a series that I pick up. So I might be missing an issue. Apologize if you can hear the loud children out back, or out front, I should say. The neighborhood children like to play in the street in front of my house because I have a slope on the driveway and nobody else does. So they think that gives them free reign to go up and down it and do whatever they want. So sometimes I go out and chase them off. And honestly, I'm just waiting for the day that somebody comes around the corner and runs over one of them, because none of their parents seem to watch them outside or care where they are. And, I grew up in the 80s and we had our neighborhood, friends, and we'd run around in the streets, but I was on the sidewalk and I knew to get out of the street when a car came. These kids don't. There's been a couple times where they just stare as I barrel down on them, and I'll have to stop, and then their parent will drag them out of the street, which, those kids are not long for this world if their parent needs to pull them out front of a moving vehicle. So anyways, the couple issues I had in my saver, we'll go over theirs first. And then I did have a couple books that I picked up on eBay, and I did go through the back issues at the store when I was there, just for the heck of it, honestly. Financially it was doable. Do I have room for all these? I did take a box of about maybe like 40 issues that I was not keeping, that I basically just handed over to the guy at the counter. I was like, I'm donating these, take them, which included, a whole bunch of stuff that hadn't sold on eBay, and some recent pickups that I just, read through and didn't think were worth keeping. Some old issues of Dr. Fate that I picked up for the covers, and then upon reading were just groan-inducing, so I got rid of those. But, I figured if I'm getting rid of, 50 issues or so of garbage, then I can pick up some worthwhile stuff. So, first issue that was in my pull box was Usagi Ochimbo, number 19. This is the IDW, since Dan Sakai moved from Dark Horse to IDW. These are now all in color. It used to be that Usagi was black and white because Dan Sakai did all the artwork. But it's now color with IDW, which is, it's fine. I think it takes away some of the uniqueness of the title, but it's not like the coloring's bad or anything. So I'm caught up on Usagi. It's very good. They do have a kind of a companion series called Wanderer's Road, which is really just reprints of like the early Usagi stuff with Dark Horse, basically just in color. And they have really, I'll say this, they have really cool covers, but I have like the trade paperbacks and some of the original issues for that run, so I told them I want the monthly, but I don't need the reprint. reprint title. So, next one here, I wasn't sure if it was going to be in my pull list. It's the Old Guard Tales Through Time. So it looks like this is a 6-issue miniseries, which kind of goes over the characters' lives before the modern day Old Guard and Old Guard sequel. If you've read those first two, basically miniseries to an extent, you know that these characters are basically kind of like Highlander, they're immortal. And the most recent series, you know, they've had flashbacks to where they initially came from or when they learned they were immortal, but not a huge amount of backstory on them most of the time. So this series looks to be kind of filling that out, and I'm looking forward to it. I haven't watched the movie yet. There's a movie that they did for Netflix. I haven't had the time to sit down and watch that, but the series is always good, so I was glad to see that I didn't miss out on that. So these next ones are a couple eBay pickups first. So this one I actually just got today in the mail. This is World's Finest Comics, number 318 from 1985. And in one of my other videos, I went over that really the earliest comic that I remember for sure having was an issue of World's Finest Comics, which was the first appearance of this character, Sonic Boom. And I honestly thought it was his one and only appearance, because obviously he is not one of the great pantheon characters of DC. But recently I was looking to see if I could pick up maybe another copy of that issue, because I have a few and I've sent one off to be graded. So I couldn't remember what issue number it was, and I typed in, you know, World's Finest Sonic Boom, and lo and behold, he had a second issue. So this is 318, where it says, you know, he's back, you asked for him, you got him. I'm not sure how many people really asked for Sonic Boom, but, you know, here's his second appearance. So I flipped through this. It looks to be the same artist as the initial. So this should be an interesting read, kind of some nostalgia there. This next one is Superman number 149. I forget where I came across this. I think it was on the eBay site for my local shop, and they had a copy that they had for going for like $100 some odd, and it wasn't in great shape. And the big thing, I guess, was that it's the first Death of Superman story. And, you know, this is when Superman, everything was kind of just craziness, so they had lots of, you know, what we would call Elseworld stories or imaginary stories. And this is the first one where Superman dies, and they have a, you know, what happens when Superman dies. So that's, I guess, the big claim to fame with this issue. Another thing is it's the last of the 10-cent, there we go, the last of the 10-cent cover price issues of Superman. So, end of an era. I think after this they went up to 12 cents, which for, you know, for us now paying $3.99 for, you know, your most basic issue, if not $4.99 or $5.99, you know, going from 10 to 12 cents, I mean, I guess it is a 20% increase, but, I mean, nowadays, we're getting a lot more than 20% increases, so this isn't the copy my comic book store had on their eBay. This is one I picked up separately for a much better price. I don't think I paid more than $25. I can't remember exactly, but it wasn't, you know, wasn't too bad. And these, I mean, just these covers are are glorious. I love those. Next one I picked up is Batman number 259. So this is a 100-page special from, I believe, the 80s, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it doesn't say. But the reason I picked up this particular issue is I was watching the Bill and Batman documentary on Bill Finger, which is available on Hulu if you have Hulu. I kind of remember when it came out, there's a bit of fanfare because it was all about Bill Finger and, you know, his hand in creating Batman and all the mythos. And, but at the time I didn't have, like, the Hulu service, and to my knowledge, that's the only place you can see it. So, you know, we've had Hulu for a while now, and I came across something where it was like, oh yeah, I should watch that. And in there they mentioned that this issue of Batman is the issue that came out after the death of Bill Finger. And somewhere in here, I don't know if it's on the letters page or just the inside cover, but they have a, you know, a rest in peace or a quick shout out to the fact that Bill Finger had passed away, which, you know, until they finally gave him co-creator status, was about the most that you would see as far as his name in the issue, or in the, you know, between the covers of a Batman comic. So I searched this out. It's a beat up copy, but you know, I thought that was worth having, you know, just for that fact. So the next few are just some random things I picked up when I was at the comic book store and going through the back issues, and really no rhyme or reason for some of these. I was looking through the DC Comic Presents because there is an issue which is very hard to find and overpriced, where Superman battles He-Man. They did not have that copy, and that copy on eBay is like $200. So I was flipping through those just to make sure, and came across a few issues with some of my favorite, like, B-list characters. So this first one is DC Comics Presents number 11 with Hawkman and Superman. Hawkman apparently has gone insane, is about to power punch Superman into oblivion and destroy the world, and you know, that sounds pretty exciting. I'm a big Hawkman fan, and this is just like classic, you know, Justice League Super Friends animated Hawkman look, so I had to pick that one up. This one actually cost me like $9. I think it was the most expensive thing I pulled out of the back bins. But you know, when I used to spend 40 to 60 every week when I would go to the comic book store, so since I had two things in my pull list, I thought it was okay to browse. So these next ones, I don't think a single one cost me more than $3 or $4, which is the current price of books. So this is DC Comics Presents number 23 with Dr. Fate and Superman. I've always loved Dr. Fate's look. It's just so, maybe it's because it's like the, you know, King Arthur Knight type of look for the helmet. I don't know, but the Dr. Fate's outfit and colors and helmet have always just, I've loved it forever. He was one of my favorite, you know, Super Friends and, you know, action figures back in the 80s. I still have my Dr. Fate with no cape, because as a boy, I hated the capes and I would take them off and toss them, which now I feel completely stupid for that. But, you know, my Dr. Fate action figure with the kick butt helmet and the look was just so awesome to me that he became one of my favorites. And, you know, they've done some really crappy iterations of Dr. Fate over the years. written by, I think, Demetrius when he was in his comic phase, and they just aren't funny. They're just agonizing to read. So after reading one issue of that, I tossed the rest, even though the covers had really awesome looking depictions of Dr. Fate. But I mean, if the inside covers, if what's between the cover and the back is just horrid, then I can't just keep it for the cover image. I might as well just take a picture. So hopefully this is better. This is probably from the 80s again, so I don't think they were screwing with Dr. Fate too much back then. And I mean, I'd love to see a Dr. Fate series now. For a while they had it. It was Hector Hall, who was Carter Hall's son from probably a different timeline, I think. And those issues of Justice Society and stuff were great. So I'd like to see a serious take on the character again. Another DC comic presents number 95 with Hawkman and Superman. There's a little bit more of a original Hawkman look, where the headdress is a little bit more funny looking, but flipping through, this was only a $2 maybe, so pick that one up. And then we get to one of my favorite back issue series to look through, which is Conan. So this is Conan number 63, where he's fighting Amra, Lord of the Lions. And I remember, I think I have a couple issues leading up to this where him and Bailey are fighting some lizard men, and they mention Amra. I thought he was supposed to be controlling lizard men, but I guess now he's got some lines with him. I don't know. So that's a good one. Also picked up issue 64, so just the next one. This cover is just reminiscent enough to me that I'm worried I have a copy of it already. So we'll see. I'm sure once I look through it, I'll remember if I did or not. Or it just might be that maybe I have number 65, and it's always hard to tell because a lot of the Conan covers are the same basic layout. So excited to go through those. You can't really beat an issue of Conan even if you don't know what the previous issues were about. And this one is issue 75 with a cover by Ernie Chan, where he's holding on to this Hawk Raider as he flies over the city. I know I have a issue either right before or right after this one, because I know I have an issue where the Hawk Riders land and he's taken prisoner or something, and then it leads to him fighting King Cole of Atlantis somehow. So that's a good one. That they went from 25 to 30 cents, from 77 to, let's see, what's this one from? Can't tell when these 25-cent ones are from, but 5-cent increase. I wish they had done that for a while, right? I remember back in the day when I was first getting back into collecting, it was if the comic was more than a gallon of gas, then I'd worry. Nowadays it's well above a gallon of gas, and that happened rather quickly. This next one I was actually surprised to find, just because it looks amazing, and it was on the cheap. I think it was $4, and it's DC Comics presents. It's the 1984 annual, and it's Superman and Shazam, and they're fighting Dr. Savannah, who looks to have gotten some of Shazam's powers. So this is an extra size issue. It's a little thicker. Cover price, that's $1.25. But when I saw this cover, for a little while there, when the Shazam movie came out, it was kind of hard to get Shazam stuff on the cheap. And when I saw this in there, it was oh, seriously? So, had to pick that up. I mean, that's just awesome. not least, we have Captain America number 260. I was looking for issue 225, which I'd seen on a haul recently, which had Captain America kind of coming towards you and he's throwing a shield. Unfortunately, they didn't have that one, and honestly, it looked like some of their issues were out of order. Like maybe somebody had gone through the Captain Americas and just decided to put a whole run back, but not in numerical order. But when I was flipping through and saw this, this image is just so striking that it was like, I don't care what the story is about. Having Captain America with this blue background and the white bars, it's just an awesome looking piece. So, for less than the current cover price of comics, I picked that one up. So that was it for today, guys. Not to get on my soapbox, but recently I wandered over to Newsarama because I've been trying to stay off those comic websites. Just wanted to kind of see what was going on. And they had a story about, I guess in Action Comics, it's gonna stay about Superman Kal-El. And I guess the Superman title moving forward is going to be about Jonathan Kent, Superboy. He's not a boy anymore because he went through this whole rigmarole under Bendis where he aged prematurely. But I guess they're relaunching Superman with an issue 1, of course. And it's all going to be Jonathan Kent's adventures in Metropolis, and I guess Superman's going to be in space for a while, is what they said. And, at first I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting idea, and I liked the Superman and Superboy issues that, like, Tomasi had done on his run. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe I'll pick that up. And then I saw the cover price. And the cover price was $5.99. And, I mean, wasn't it DC that was holding the line at $2.99 just a few years ago? And now we've gone to 3, and then 4, and now we're at $5.99. That's asking a lot. I mean, $6 for an issue. Hopefully after issue 1 it's more reasonable, like $3.99, but even $3.99, that used to be unreasonable. So, going through the back issues and finding some classic stuff that's less than the current cover price, I'm getting to the point where, apart from the few things in my saver, I really just kind of, they haven't priced me out of the market, but at the same time, not having to spend $60 a week on the comics, I feel like I'm rich all of a sudden. So, to be asking that much, they really need to have something amazing to put forth, not just a new number 1. So, that is it for me, guys. I hope you have a good one. Probably won't be back to the comic store for a couple weeks, but in the meantime,